This is Nelson from Holman RV. We're going to do a walkthrough of a Grey Wolf Limited, and this happens to be the model 20RDSE. We're going to start at the front of the camper and work our way on the outside first. You got two propane tanks on the front. You have an indicator here. You can kind of see an arrow that it's pointing to this left tank right now. So this one is on and this one is off. The green indicator means that it's full. When you run out, you turn the dial so that the arrow is to the other side. And then you would just turn this one on and this one off. So you have the same amount of propane if you do run out. You have a power jack at the front. Lowers and raises. You also have a light for the front in case you have any, in case you hook up late at night or early in the morning. Your battery is here. You have a shut-off inside that I'll get to when we go inside. You have a tankless water heater. So there is no water tank to worry about. You have a on-off switch here. Keep this one in the in-operation position, and then there's buttons on the inside that we'll get to for further operation of your water heater. When you winterize, there is no need to do a bypass on a tankless water heater. So refer to your manual for any additional instructions on your tankless water heater. I will tell you now, in case so I don't forget later, is that when you use a tankless water heater, you have to turn on the hot water first until it starts giving you hot water, and then add cold to get your desired temperature. Now you have manual stabilizers. There's one at each corner. Now these are stabilizers and not jacks. So once you get your camper level at the campsite, then you put your stabilizers down to stabilize the camper from rocking. This is where your cable goes in. If you're at a campground that has cable, you put it in there, and then all the jacks inside work off of that same cable. The black key goes to your outside shower. So you do have an outside shower. If you do your own winterization, people often forget this one. Treat it like another faucet. Don't forget to run the RV antifreeze through this part of the system as well. If you're not comfortable doing your own winterization, that service is provided here at Holman Motors as well. The other keys, the purple key is for the door. The black key, like I said, is for your outside shower. And the silver one is what we call a 751 key. That's for your storage compartments. For your water connection, this is to fill your freshwater holding tank. You would simply put the hose in here and fill it with water. And if you have city connection, you simply screw the hose at the end of there. That way you don't have to use your water pump. Your low point drain is down here. If you're going to do your own winterization, there's where your low point drains are. This is your sewer hookup. Now you can either use the dump station if you don't have full hookup at your campsite, or you run your hose from here to your sewer connection at the campsite. When you drain these, you always want to pull the black one first. That's from your toilet. And then after that, you pull your gray one, and that's the one from the sinks and the shower. And that kind of washes out the hose for you when you dump. You do have a tank flush, black tank flush. When you hook this up, make sure that you're at one of those places, either the dump station or your full hookup sewer at your campsite, and make sure the black one is open. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot to clean up in your bathroom. You do have an outside light. This is your 30 amp plug hookup. It kind of goes in at an angle and then a half twist, and then this just screws on to help keep it in place. Your freshwater holding tank drain is down here. It's the white pull. You pull that valve and that will empty your freshwater holding tank. Going to the back, one thing I want to mention, twice a year at the beginning and end of the season, you want to get on the roof and inspect any caulking that you have. You have a main seam in back, main seam in front, and then anything that's been mounted on your roof has caulking also. If you see any cracks, you want to use Dicor self-leveling. That way you just squirt it over the cracks and it fills in the crack for you. While we're talking about tires for a minute, at the end of your DOT number is a stamp, and it has 4 numbers in it. The first 2 numbers is the week of the year. The last 2 numbers is the year that your tire was made. Now, you don't want to go more than 5, maybe 6 years at the most, because you can get dry rot. No matter how much tread you have left, you're still at risk of having a blowout. While I'm talking about the tires, let me go back up front real quick. There's a chart here that shows the size of tire that you need and your suggested PSI. It's 65 on this particular model. Continue back around the other side again. You do have a spare tire cover. I'll put that back on when we're done. You have a spot here in the back to put your leash for your dog. We've already opened up the awning for you. Now, this awning is a sunshade. It's not for weather. If you have a light rain, you're okay to leave it out, but if you have any storms that blow in, or you're going to go hiking or leave for the day, make sure you put that in, because if a high wind does come in, it's going to rip that off there and you're going to have a repair to make. You do have lights, neon lights or blue lights, LEDs that are already on there, and there's a switch inside that I'll show you that turns that on and off. You have a mount here for an outdoor TV. You would plug your cable in here, and you have electric here for your power. Now, these speakers are not for this TV, it's for the radio that's inside. Inside it'll have a zone for inside speakers and a zone for outside speakers, or you can turn them both on. You have the quick steps, but this door has to be all the way open before you can put them up and down. You want to make sure that they're adjustable. Here's a quick release to lengthen these or make them shorter. You want to make sure that they're either level or tilted down, because if they're up at all, this may interfere with the closing of your door. So if you have any problems closing your door, it might be because that the steps are not mounted correctly. You have an easy open screen door. You have an inside and outside latch. It connects to this door. This is the handle you use to pull it closed from the inside. And you have a little deadbolt lock there. So one does the deadbolt, the other one locks the handle itself. Let's go inside. This is your main panel. It has a little electric eye, or little eye here, motion sensor, so anytime you walk by it, these controls will come on for you. So it constantly tells you the level of your tanks at the top. So you can see that we have 1/3 of your fresh tank, your black tank's empty, and your gray tank is empty. Your battery level is fully charged. This is the control for your awning light. So when these lights are on, it's on, and when it's off, it's off. So that would turn your awning lights off. That one turns your exterior light off, living room, and so on. Your water heater is on the on position right now, and this is for your water pump. You only need the pump when you're using your freshwater holding tank. If you're hooked up to city water, you do not have to use your water pump. This is your awning control. So extend and retract for your awning. It's power. So while we're talking about the water heater on the inside, I already told you about turning the hot water on first. So it's set at 121 degrees right now. So that's about normal. You want to leave it at that. In here you also have in the bathroom is where your ground fault reset is. So if you ever have a kitchen appliance that doesn't work, the first thing I want you to come check is your ground fault, because this is your reset for that. After that, if you have an electrical issue, you have a control panel over here where you have your circuit breakers and your fuses. So simply push at the top, that opens up. These are your circuit breakers, tells what they're for. These are your, just like in your car, for your 12-volt fuses. has a little panel to the light, so if one does blow, the light will indicate which one it is, so you don't have to pull them out and check every single one of them. While we're down here, this is your battery shut off. Right now you can see it's in the on position. And this is your carbon monoxide propane detector. Now this will always be on, so even if you have the battery turned off, this will draw a little bit of power. So if you're going to store it over the winter, I suggest taking your battery in and hooking it to a trickle charger. This tells you what your battery is right now. You're at 13.6, which is perfect. Okay, we'll go back over. Let's see, we covered the rest of the panel. Okay, you got a nice country style sink with a full hose that will separate and move around. You can also change the kind of flow that you have on that. You also have a soap dispenser or sanitizer. There's a bottle underneath the sink. Just open this door and you can fill the bottle with whatever you want to pump out of there. You have a cover here for your sink to give you some additional counter space. When you're traveling, I suggest that you put that either on the bed or somewhere, because it does have some sharp edges that if you hit a big bump, it may fall out and gouge your floor. So just make sure you store that when you're towing. Another idea when you're towing is this glass top for your stove. Make sure it's in the fully down position when you're towing. When it's in the up position, obviously if you hit a bump and this falls against these cast iron rails, you're going to have some glass to clean up. The controls for your burners, this is your backlights and your oven light. So this one is a clicker, a spark igniter, like on your gas grill. So you turn this burner on, click it, and it lights up for you. You can do all three of these, click it. All three working fine. So make sure these are all back to the off position so you have no gas flow. This one on the right is for your oven. Always make sure your oven door is open. Turn it to the flame. This works like a gas fireplace. You would push and hold this in to bleed the gas line, then use your spark igniter to light your pilot light. Once your pilot light is lit, it's in the back bottom. Once it's lit, you can turn it to any of the numbers, and the full panel for your burner will light up for you for cooking. When you're done cooking, make sure you put that back in the off position. You want these all in the off position when not in use. I'm going to go ahead and put the glass down so it doesn't have an issue. You do have a power antenna. You can see a little green light here. That means it's in the on position. There's a little black button to the right that turns it off. The difference is when it's on, you're using airwaves for your TV. If you hook up cable and you do a cable search, you're not going to get any channels because this power antenna is on. So when you're hooked up to cable, make sure that little green light is off. This is your dinette in the back of the camper. Right now the table is in the down position, so this makes a full bed in the back, and there's where the poles would go to connect to your table to put it in the upright position for dining. Any of the lights that don't work off of the main switch, it's just a simple button in the middle of the light that turns them on and off. Right now we do have your air conditioner running. You can close these vents, makes it a little quieter back here where the TV would mount, and it forces the air through these white vents in the ceiling for your air conditioning. If you're in here and want direct air, just open those. It's a little louder, but you have more air. This is your radio I was talking about. There's your power, and you have different zones to select from. Zone 1 is the inside speakers. Zone 2 is the outside speakers. Okay. Above your stove, you have an additional light and an exhaust fan. And regular residential microwave. Okay, this is your control for your AC and your heat. Right now I'm running on cool. So the up and down buttons raises and lowers the temperature. You hit this button and it kind of does a backlight, and you can see that we're on cool. Just keep hitting this bottom button to change what you want. We'll go ahead and turn it in the off position. That will shut off your AC. And then to turn on the furnace, keep hitting that button until we go to heat. And then you can adjust the temperature. We have it pretty high right now just to make it kick on. So it takes a second for it to kick on. Okay, on this particular model, it's underneath of your oven. So the fan is on first, and then after about 10 seconds you'll hear a click, and that ignites your burner. Then you'll start feeling heat. The heat will be coming out, you just heard the click. The heat will come out of the brown vents that are located close to the floor. The white vents in the ceiling are for air conditioning, the brown ones close to the floor are for your heat. We'll go ahead and turn this back to the off position. And now the same thing will happen in opposite. Your flame will go out first, your fan will continue to blow, and it will eventually go off. Okay, back to your bathroom. For your toilet, push the pedal halfway down and it fills your toilet halfway with water. Now it's just like your residential commode at home. Once you're doing what you need to do, push the pedal all the way down and it flushes into the black tank. Here's your faucets for the bathroom. There's your shower. And you have an additional light here. Actually, that works off of a switch as well. Here's your light switch. And you can manually turn it on and off there as well if the switch is in the on position. Your fan, you'll notice that it says pull to unlock. This is to raise and lower the vent. So the clockwise is close, counterclockwise is open. Once you have that open, now you have 4 levels for your fan. And a simple off button turns that off. And put it on your checklist. Make sure that this is in the down position when you travel. And you kind of push up on the button and it locks in place. Last but not least is the front bedroom. You have under the bed storage. You have USB ports and electric on both sides of the bed. And you each have a closet with some hanging areas. You have a reading light above the bed that turns on with that center button again. Okay, that concludes our walkthrough on this camper. If you have any questions, feel free to call Holman Motors RV.